Hey guys, it's Rich. Welcome back to a brand new video. So today we're going to be talking about the best settings in Fortnite Chapter 2 for FPS, for smooth gameplay, and to get the best advantage over all of your other opponents. We're also going to be talking about my hardware, my peripherals, and what I'm currently using in-game on Fortnite as well. But if you guys want to get the best settings and the best FPS, then please leave a like, leave a comment, give me some constructive criticism, and subscribe if you want to. So let's get straight into settings, and I'll see you all in a second. Okay, so we're currently on my desktop. There's nothing too crazy on here. But to start off, first of all, most of these settings are going to be beneficial for PC players. And that's because we're going to be changing the config in-game, okay? So to do this, we're going to press Windows R, and we're going to do percentage, local app data percentage. That's just going to bring up this. You can do it by going through local disk, x64, all that kind of stuff. Press F to find Fortnite game. It's going to say saved, and then we go to config, and then it's going to say Windows client and game user settings. So before we open this, for you to actually be able to edit it, you right click, properties, you unselect read only, apply, and then we can go straight into the settings. So this is what you're currently using in game. Most of it's going to relate, and there's going to be a few things that we want to change. So you'll scroll down till you'll find gamma, display gamma. It's going to be yours will be 2.20000. The gamma is to do with the colors, and that's why all of the buildings look a lot more different than they did on season 1, or well, chapter 1. So we're going to change the display gamma to 1 point and then 6 zeros. It's pinnacle that you put 6 zeros, as that's what's going to talk to the game, and when you load up the game, there'll be no crashes and it will all load up completely fine. So that's one start of getting the game to look better. Something that's going to affect the FPS is foliage. So you scroll down a little bit to scalability groups, and you'll see you've got shadow quality, post-processing, texture, effects. They're all ones that you change in-game. However, foliage quality isn't a setting you can see in your menu. That's going to be currently on free. I put this all the way down to 0. Okay, and then there is one more setting. Okay, and then there's also another setting that we're going to change up top as well, and that's going to be show grass. That will say true at the moment, and we change that to false, okay? And then finally, something that Fortnite have turned off for some reason was disable mouse acceleration. That was false, which meant that mouse acceleration was automatically pre-selected for everyone, which means that your aim may have not felt completely like it should have in chapter 1. So you change that to true, and that's it. So you go file, you save it, and then we click out of it, go back to properties, and reselect that to read only, and then apply it. And that's all done for the current config, and that's all you'll need to do outside of the actual game. Okay, so now we're in game, and I'm going to show you what settings I'm personally running. It's all down to personal preference. I've only just switched to mouse and keyboard, so I'm still experimenting, and I'm not going to lie, I tend to copy some settings from pros and then adapt it to my own, only because what they're using is clearly working, and I'm a fresh set of eyes. Like, yes, it's best to use what's best for you. However, I don't really know what's best for me at the moment, so it's not too bad. It's not good, though, to just change when you're completely 6 months into mouse and keyboard completely to what pros are using. So let's go into settings. We'll start off on this page. I play full screen, 1920 by 1080. I just have the frame rate limit on unlimited. It's probably best to have it on maybe what your monitor is, as I like to get an extra FPS, because sometimes it weirdly can help. My view distance, I have it on far and this on low now. I don't know why it's changed. Motion blur definitely off, VSync off, show FPS on, and allow multi-threaded rendering. We go over to these settings. My mouse sensitivity is 1.35 for X and Y. Target sensitivity is 0.35, and mouse scope sensitivity is 0.34. For me, it just feels nice. It's not too fast, it's not too slow. I'm still hitting my shots. Maybe I should turn down the targeting sensitivity a little bit. However, we can experiment with that as it goes on. I use sprint by default, so that I don't have to worry about doing that. I used to play on controller, so sprint by default I've always used because of left stick editing as well. we've got turbo building on. Confirm edit on release, I've turned it on. It's essentially like a double keybind. However, you don't have to have it combined as two different keys, it just makes it easier. But the reason why you use double keybind was to make sure that you can press two keystrokes as quick as possible. But now that it's editing on release, you can pretty much either use your mouse wheel or go back to edit and reset very quickly. And then everything else is as you'll see. I've got all of the record replays off just because I don't want to take up RAM usage on my PC. I'm recording via OBS or Shadowplay anyway, so I don't really need the in-game files. I know streamers use it sometimes to find out people's gamer tags or to see if they're hacking, but for now, I just got that turned off. Brightness is on 0.61. That I've used to balance my colorblind. So I've got it on Deuteronope 8, which is the same as Mongrel, and my brightness is the same as Mongrel's as well. So I believe the brightness just balances this because it makes the game a little bit darker, but this is what is used for a long time now just to see outside of the storm. So it makes it so your eyesight is a little bit better. And then keybinds, most of it is standard. I use F to use, which is OG anyway. The weapon slots is just 1, 2, 6. Wall, I use Q. Floor is on my mouse button on the top one on the G502 instead of on the bottom one. And then I have the other thumb button, which is kind of for the targeting sensitive or however they mark it is, as my pickaxe as well. But I rarely use this, and I probably should utilize it for something else on my controller, on my mouse. Maybe a trap. That's probably going to be the best one to do for that. And I think that's all I've really changed. Edit is E, just because it's super easy to press with my index finger. Reset is on right mouse button or mouse wheel down. And that's pretty much it for in-game settings. Controller wise, when I was using it, I used left stick edit. That was pretty much all I changed. I had my dead zones a little bit lower. And I mean, now I just feel like a new season, new me, mouse and keyboard is definitely the way forward. Okay, and then the final subject to cover in today's video is going to be my hardware. So regarding monitors, I'm currently running a single monitor setup with a dual monitor that's not always plugged in. So at the moment I'm using my brother's 28-inch 4K monitor, which is nice and spacious. It's just a budget Samsung one from Curry's, it's £220. I don't know the product name of that one because it's not my main monitor and I can't see it anywhere on there. Regarding my monitor, I'm running the BenQ XL 2411p, which is an updated version from my unboxing video, and the main difference is instead of the DVI to achieve 144Hz, it's got a DisplayPort 2.1, and then it's got a HDMI 1.4, so it can't output a 144Hz through the secondary HDMI, but I believe it can achieve up to 120, don't quote me on that. My second monitor I mainly use for console, and then sometimes it's my dual monitor, and that's the BenQ RL2455HM. The main problem with that is sometimes my Windows has weird scalability where if I've got a 144Hz monitor and a 60Hz monitor plugged in, I'm not always achieving the 144Hz refresh rate. It gets a bit laggy, it gets stuttery, and even when I put it into my dedicated graphics from my Intel CPU, it's not working great either. So for now, I don't really need a dual monitor. Once I start streaming, I'm going to get either a second of the same monitor I'm using, or we'll have to figure something out on that front. So getting into my peripherals first, I use the Corsair K70 Lux, I believe it is, for my keyboard. It's got cherry red switches on there, it's nice and tactile. However, I want to upgrade to the Ducky, the Ducky 1 Mini 2 with the silver speed switches. That's probably going to be my next upgrade. For the mouse, I'm using the G502 Hero by Logitech, probably one of the most popular mouses ever made. I don't know if I like it too much. I loved my G402. This feels just a little bit bigger, but it's nice and accurate. It's fairly light without the weights in there, and it's got good options for buttons in a great place. So I can't complain too much. And then I've got a large SteelSeries mouse mat, the extra large one, because I like to play on a lower DPI. When it comes to my headphones, I'm using Audio-Technica ATH M50X's. They're just a good solid headphone. They don't have too much bass boost, all that kind of stuff. They're fairly close to studio headphones, which means that the sound is pretty flat. So when editing sound, it's gonna give me the best results. And for a microphone, I used a Blue Yeti Procaster bundle, which is a Blue Yeti mic. Well, not a Blue Yeti, it's not technically a Blue Yeti, it's pretty much the same. However, it comes with the radius-free shock mount and a very solid boom arm. So great value for money. It's about £200. Highly recommend it for video and streaming. And it's just a great all-in-one bundle. And then I have the Elgato HD60S for when I'm recording console gameplay. And just a quick one with my mouse, I'm on a 400 DPI and 1000 Hertz polling rate as well. Okay, so going on to my PC, the cream of the crop, the absolute, my baby, I love it. One thing I'm going to mention before we get into the parts, because you might be wondering why I picked certain things. This is a pre-built PC from Overclockers. At the time, I thought it was a fantastic deal. I got it fairly soon after the 2080 or the 20 series came out by Nvidia. So I thought it was a great price. I paid about $1,400 for it because they let you take off Windows, which saves you £110 off the cost. Plus, you can buy it super cheap online from CGS, Keys, anything like that. G2A might sell it as well. But to start off, I've got the Fantex 350 XD. You'll see all of the components on screen. It's a nice case, to be honest. It's got built-in RGB around the sides. It's a spacious case. It's got a PSU shroud, so it looks very nice on the inside. And if you do it right, you can make the case look fantastic. That's for sure. When it comes to the motherboard, I'm using a Gigabyte Z390 UD. It's an entry-level Z390 chipset motherboard. However, it's probably the best value for money one you can get for the price, but it's not got great overclocking capabilities. So the VRMs and the heat sinks aren't great for overclocking, so I can't use my CPU to the best ability. I do have the i9 9900K, which is an 8-core 16-threaded beast. So this can stream, game, edit, it can do everything. It's a bit expensive. I know that AMD are doing well at the moment, but this is just probably the best CPU I could have got for my money. Plus, it had the hyper-threading option, which they took out of the other CPUs, which doesn't matter too much for gaming, but for editing and doing multi-processing workflows, this is an absolute beast. It's got 16 gigs of Team Group T-Force Vulcan RAM. Something else I could probably upgrade. It might not be the fastest DDR4 RAM, but it'll do the job, and it's more than enough for what I need at the moment. Graphics wise, again, another bad boy. I've got a Zotac RTX 2080. It's a very, very powerful card. It can handle anything that I chuck at it game wise. It can play at 4K, and it's an absolute beast. So I'm very happy with that. I might upgrade it in the future either to SLI, or in a few years, I won't need to upgrade this for 2 or 3 years, I'll just get the latest flagship device. And then storage wise, I've only got a 500GB Samsung 850 or 860 SSD at the moment. I do need to upgrade. I'll probably get some mechanical drives to chuck in there for storage, some Western Digital Blacks, just something that has a bit of a better read and write speed than the standard like Seagate Barracuda or whatever you may be using. And I believe that is it. So, and then also I mentioned my processor is water cooled, but like I said, I can't overclock it. But from a PC, that's it. You'll see all the parts on screen. I'm pretty technical when it comes to it. I just thought that I can get my warranty through Overclockers. I've got someone to call whenever I need anything. I don't have to spend too much amount of time troubleshooting whatever I need to be doing when I'm busy. So that was my reason behind getting a pre-built. I know building it yourself is always the way forward. That's what I used to do. But in this instance, I thought, what's the point? But guys, I hope you enjoyed today's settings video. I know it's a little bit different, something you may not expect from me. If you stuck out till the end, I definitely appreciate it, and I'll see you all in the next one.